These guys are teaching you a blueprint that is working for them at a fraction of what you would pay to go to university. Now, guys, let's just say out of the 700,000 subscribers that have subscribed to their channel, let's say 1% of those guys decide to buy a course from them. But yeah, 1% of 700,000, that is 7,000. These are 7,000 people that we're talking about. Let's take the 7,000 and multiply it by 5,000 rands and see how much we get. I think this is 35 million. Hey, that's a lot of money. In this video, I'm going to share with you how I think the guys at Podcast and Chill with MacG can make an additional 5 million rands per year. They don't need to reinvent the wheel. They have the resources at their disposal. So let me get to it and show you how I think they can do it. Our education system as a country is outdated. It just is. So what these guys are doing, they've pioneered a space for themselves. They've proven that you can succeed creating content. And in their case, it's a podcast. And so they've proven that the podcast model works. There's a lot of businesses that need the information that they know. At the recording of this video, they are approaching 700,000 subscribers. These guys are getting millions of views every month. And so currently, they're the biggest podcast in South Africa, if not Africa. So the knowledge that they have amassed with this podcast is valuable to a whole lot of business people who are looking at starting podcasts to get their brand name out there, to sell, essentially. And so they've proven that they know what they're doing because it's working. When you look at their production quality, audio quality, when they're shooting outdoors, I can think of the episode where they were shooting with YouTube. When they shoot outdoors, the quality is still there. So they've proven that they know what they're doing, and so they can take that and create an online course where they help other content creators or other business owners who want to get into the content creation space. So if they create an online course covering these topics that I'm going to mention now, number one, video production. They are using, it's a vodcast, it's a video podcast, which I think is a smart move because they can repurpose the content that they create in various ways and in various social media platforms, which I think a lot of small businesses, a lot of content creators, this is a strategy that they need to adopt. Create a podcast. You can always break down your videos into smaller pieces and post them on other platforms. I digress. That's not the point that I wanted to make. But the point that I wanted to make is if they taught on that online course that I suggest they create, if they taught video production. Now, I'm not saying MacG and Saul should be the ones that are teaching video production. It's a team effort. They already have a team of guys that can create videos, that can produce videos, can capture high quality videos. Let those guys teach in this course and make it a team effort. So the resources are already there at their disposal. They're creating video content on a weekly basis. And so they can teach video production. It's something that they can teach. They can teach video editing. They have to edit videos every week, and so it's something that they do. They can also teach audio engineering, so to speak. When I say audio engineering, a lot of people get intimidated. It's not that complex, but they can teach how they set up their audio, right? Like how they set up their audio to sound the way that it does, how they master their audio, how they sync their audio and their video. Those are things that they could teach, so we're focusing on the content creation side of things first. Those are things that they could teach. Then they can focus on distribution. Number 4, which is distribution. How do they distribute their content? Teach that. Like, what are they using? Are they using Anchor to publish on Spotify, on Apple, iTunes, wherever their podcasts are found, right? Like, how do they make sure that they distribute their audio podcast? Because we know that their video podcast, they distribute that on their YouTube channel, right? And so these are topics that they can teach. And so it's video production, it's audio engineering, the basics, they're off. They are set up how they do it. It's video editing, right? Video editing and audio mastering. It's distribution, how they distribute their content. They can also teach a bit about branding because they have to create thumbnails. When you see a thumbnail from their episode from the Podcast and Chill with MacG, you can tell that this is a thumbnail from those guys. Like the thumbnails stand out. And I'm not saying it's anything special, but they stand out. You know that it's them. And so they can teach that as well. That is number 5. And then the most important thing that I think they can teach is monetization. How do they make money from their podcast? So if they teach these 6 things and how they do them, and it's not to say, the way that they do them is the right and perfect way. That's not it at all. But they've proven that the system that they use works, and so they can teach what they know to their audience. Now that they've taught these 6 things: video production, audio engineering or sound engineering, video editing and audio mastering, distribution, thumbnail design or a bit on branding, monetization. After they've, because they wanted to create, what I suggest they do is create an online course teaching these topics. Now, this is not a unique strategy. Many YouTubers are using this strategy, teaching their followers how they can create content like the people that they admire. I can think of Ali Abdal, I can think of Aaron On Demand, and many other YouTubers that are using this strategy. So you're not saying my way is the perfect way, my way is the best way. No, you're saying this is how we do it, or this is how I do it, which I think is valuable. A whole lot of content creators, a whole lot of YouTubers can do the same. Teach your audience your process, and those that want to go deep with you, they can. They can support you by buying the course if they want to learn your way of doing it. And then they've taught these 6 topics that I've talked about. Then they would need to host their video content. There are a few ways that they can do that as well. There are some things called learning management systems, LMS. We have LearnDash, which sort of, if you are familiar with Skillshare and how they host their courses, or Udemy, or any of these online learning platforms, if you're familiar with them and how they structure their content, LearnDash allows you to do the same. Here's the advantage, in my opinion, of using LearnDash. It allows you to host the courses yourself, so you can charge whatever amount of money you want to charge. If you host it on a platform like Skillshare are going to take something like 70% and give you 30% of the revenue. You're losing a lot of money. They already have an audience. And so what I suggest is they create their own sort of Skillshare, or their own version of Skillshare, using learning management systems like LearnDash, Tutor LMS, Lifter LMS, Moodle. There's a lot of these things that they can use to host their online course by themselves, so that they can keep all the revenue they generate from their course, which I think, a lot of content creators is something that they can consider. Now, apart from these independent learning management systems, there's a platform like Teachable. Does the same thing, allows you to host your courses by yourself. There's something like Thinkific. With Teachable and Thinkific, you pay a certain sum of money on a monthly basis so that you can host your courses, and so you can host your courses, get paid. So I don't think that it's something that is difficult. I think it's something that they can do. They are doing it week in, week out. I just think that they should teach their blueprint to people that are interested, and they can easily make 5 million rands per year easily. I think they can do it easily. Now I've covered the things, how I think they should go about creating the online course, and how I think they should go about hosting their online course. Now I want to cover the money part, which is why you're here, right? You want to know how they can make 5 million rands per year. That's what I want to cover. So guys, let's just do some basic mathematics, right? These guys have, let's just say 700,000 subscribers. They're getting millions of views per month, but let's just focus on the subscribers for argument's sake. Let's just say 1% of the people who have subscribed to the channel buys this course from them, let's say at a 5,000 rands. Because guys, remember, I've mentioned the things that I suggest they teach. Video production, that's a course on and of itself. Video editing, that's a course on and of itself. Sound engineering, that's another separate course. Distribution, thumbnail design, which is branding, monetization. These are things that they would need to study, multiple diplomas or degrees to get and to understand. So they are taking all that information and they're fitting it into one course. For me, 5,000 rands is fair, right? Because think about it, when you go to university and let's say you study multimedia design at the University of Johannesburg, the minimum amount you would pay is 20,000 rands per year. Some of the things that you learn there, guys, to be honest with you, you're not going to apply anywhere, So these guys are teaching you a blueprint that is working for them at a fraction of what you would pay to go to university. So 5K for me makes a whole lot of sense. Now guys, let's just say out of the 700,000 subscribers that have subscribed to their channel, their YouTube channel, let's say 1% of those guys decide to buy a course from them. So let's just do the math. 1%, right, times 700,000. Yeah, hey, you guys, I'm not a mathematician, and so if I make a mistake with the math, say forgive me, man. Hey, math is not my strong point. But yeah, 1% of 700,000, that is 7,000. Guys, this is, if 7,000 of the guys that have subscribed to the guys at Podcast and Chill decide to buy the course for 5,000 rands, these are 7,000 people that we're talking about. Let's take the 7,000 and multiply it by 5,000 rands and see how much we get. Yeah, hey, this is a lot of money, Buffett. I just need to double check before I call, because hey, I know you. Hey, you'll go to my comments and start saying stuff. So let me just double check and make sure that my maths is correct. How many zeros are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Banna. I think this is 35 million. Hey, that's a lot of money. These are crazy numbers. I know. But if the guys already have an audience. If 7,000 people of the guys that have subscribed to them decide to buy this course at 5,000 rands, they'd make 35 million a year. Let me just leave those numbers because they are incomprehensible, and so let me just leave them and focus on something a bit smaller, because we're gonna have problems. You guys can't bear to think of making 35 million rands, but this is possible. If 7,000 out of 700,000 people decide to buy this course, the guys would make 35 million rands. That's a lot of money. But guys, the point of this is, if these guys decide to put together a great course covering the topics that I suggested, and perhaps they sell it at 5,000 rands, which is a fraction of what people expect to pay. If they decide to go to a public institution, they can expect to pay nothing less than 20,000 rands per annum in those institutions. But if these guys decide to say they are charging 5K for this course, and keep in mind, guys, that we are looking at it from an international lens. These guys have international subscribers. How many business people in Africa watch their podcast and would love to know how to go about doing it? There's a lot of those people. Now, let's just focus on 0.1% of their subscribers. So let's say 0.1% times the 700,000 subscribers that they have. This would give us 700. Let's say out of the 700,000 people that have subscribed to the Podcast and Chill with McG podcast, let's just say 700 people decide to buy this course at 5,000 rands. Let's calculate that and see how much money they'd make. Multiply by 5,000 rands. These guys would make 3,500,000 rands per year. So the point that I hope the point is made, guys. Online education is here to stay, and people need to start taking it seriously. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Guys like Ali Abdal have put together great courses teaching their methods, their content creation methods on YouTube. Granted, they have millions of subscribers, probably 2 million plus subscribers, but this can work with a YouTuber who has 50,000 subscribers, who has 10,000 subscribers. If you're getting consistent views on a monthly basis, I think it makes sense to invest your time in creating a digital product in the form of an online course. Teach your audience your methods and host it yourself, or you can go to platforms like Skillshare. I've mentioned my preferred method, which is to host it yourself so that you can keep most of the revenue. This is a strategy that I think that all content creators and all YouTubers can use to make that extra income per year. Guys, I hope that I've proven my point that the guys at Podcast and Chill with McG can make way over 5 million rands per year. They can make over 5 million rands per year just by creating a digital product in the form of an online course. Guys, now tell me in the comments below, do you agree? Do you think this strategy could work? What are your thoughts? I'm interested to know. Cheers, guys. Thank you for joining me. God willing, I will see you on the next one.